Lesson 10. Testing and Iterating Your Messaging System. Your messaging system is a hypothesis until it is tested. This lesson builds a process for testing, measuring, and iterating your messaging across all assets. This one depends on everything you've built: your language matrix, positioning statement, core narrative, hook library, sales page, email framework, ad brief, SEO map, and voice guide. In this episode, we're going to define 3 KPIs, one for reach, one for engagement, and one for conversion. Set testing methods for each asset type, and schedule a quarterly review cadence. Let's build a process that keeps your system alive. A messaging system is not a static document. It is a living system that must be updated as your market, product, and buyer evolve. This lesson gives you a repeatable testing cadence. You'll define 3 KPIs, one for reach, one for engagement, and one for conversion. You'll define a testing process for each asset type: ads, emails, landing pages, and organic content. The output is a testing calendar that ensures your messaging system stays aligned over time. You are not just building a system, you are building a process for keeping it relevant. Here are the key takeaways. Messaging is a hypothesis until it is tested. You need a repeatable testing cadence, not a one-off launch. 3 KPIs cover reach, engagement, and conversion. Each asset type requires a different testing method, and a living messaging system stays aligned with your market. We'll use 2 frameworks. The first is the Test Measure Update framework, a 3-part loop for messaging optimization. Test. Run an A/B test on a piece of copy. Measure. Track the KPI that matters. Update. Apply the winning version to the system. Repeat every quarter. The second is the Avatar Validation Loop, a framework for validating that your messaging system is still aligned with your avatar. Run a survey or interview every quarter. Map the findings to your language matrix. Update any gaps. You have built a complete messaging system, but it is only as good as its alignment with your actual buyer. That alignment will shift over time as your market evolves, your product changes, and your buyer's needs shift. This lesson gives you a process for testing and updating your system. You'll define 3 KPIs, a testing cadence, and a process for each asset type. The output is a testing calendar that you run every quarter. The output for this lesson is your testing cadence. It ensures your system does not become obsolete. Read the entire lesson. The cadence matters. Quarterly is the minimum. Now we're going to build your testing cadence. Pause and grab your workbook. Step 1. Define your 3 KPIs. Define 1 KPI for reach, like ad impressions, 1 for engagement, like click-through rate, and 1 for conversion, like conversion rate. Use these to measure your system's performance. For example, reach, ad impressions; engagement, CTR; conversion, sales page CVR. Step 2. Define your testing methods. For each asset type, ads, emails, landing pages, organic content, define a testing method. A/B testing for ads, subject line testing for emails, and split testing for landing pages. For example, ads, A/B test hook variations; emails, A/B test subject lines; landing pages, split test PAS structure. Step 3. Define your update cadence. Define how often you update the system. I recommend a quarterly review and update cycle. Include a process for updating your language matrix based on new buyer data. For example, quarterly, review KPIs, update language matrix with new customer calls, and refresh copy. Your to-do list for Lesson 10. Define 3 KPIs for your messaging system, 30 minutes. Define testing methods for each asset type, 30 minutes. Define your quarterly update cadence, 20 minutes. Schedule your first quarterly review, 10 minutes. And run 1 A/B test on a high-priority asset, an hour. These tasks produce a testing cadence. This ensures your messaging system stays aligned with your market over time. Let's look at HubSpot's messaging testing process. They found that their marketing messaging became stale over time. Their avatar evolved, but their copy did not. They were losing relevance. They implemented a quarterly messaging audit and A/B testing process. Engagement and conversion rates improved by 19%. Engagement rates increased by 22%, and messaging alignment hit 4.3 out of 5. That's what a living testing cadence can do. Now apply that to your own system. Pause and answer these. Where in your current messaging system is there a gap between your avatar and your copy? Name one asset that needs updating. Then, run a simple A/B test on that asset. Test one hook variation against another for 1 week. Finally, if your conversion rate improved by 19%, what would that mean for your business? Name the annual revenue impact. Here are the pitfalls to avoid. The most common way to surface complete this lesson is to define testing processes, but never run them. The work is in the execution. Real completion is when you have run at least one test and applied the winning version to your system. Your testing cadence ensures your system stays alive. If you do not test, your system will become irrelevant. Avoid the trap of testing for the sake of testing. Test only things that matter: hooks, headlines, and CTAs. The difference between a living messaging system and a static one is that the living system improves over time. The static system decays. Open your workbook to the Lesson 10 worksheet, the testing cadence. Pause here. In the Your KPIs section, define one KPI for reach, engagement, and conversion. Be specific and measurable. In the Testing Methods by Asset section, define testing for ads, emails, and landing pages. A/B test, split test, or subject line test. In the Update Cadence section, define your quarterly review process. Include language matrix updates. This testing cadence is the final piece of your messaging alignment system. Use it to keep your system relevant over time. Use the progress tracker. Check KPIs defined when 3 KPIs are documented. Check testing methods defined when methods are defined for each asset type. Check update cadence defined when your quarterly review process is documented. And check one A/B test run when at least one test is executed. Once all are checked, your system is complete. And check one A/B test run once it's executed. Use the calculator to measure the completeness of your system. Count your KPIs. The benchmark is 3. Count your test methods. Aim for 3. And count your tests run. Aim for 1 or more. If you're below any benchmark, run one A/B test before considering the system complete. Here's your final exercise. Schedule a 90-day review of your messaging system. In that review, you will review your KPIs, update your language matrix with new customer data, refresh your positioning statement if needed, and update your assets. Put the date in your calendar now. Reflect on this. What is one asset you know needs to be tested, but you have not run? Why are you avoiding it? What would you test first? For deeper research, read a chapter on A/B testing from any conversion optimization resource. Then analyze 3 high-performing brands for their testing cadence. Your action for this week: run your first A/B test. It can be as simple as 2 subject lines or 2 headlines. Track the winner and apply it to your system.